I'm so grateful you joined tonight. Your body is healing itself right now, repairing damage while you simply exist. Tonight, you'll discover the healing secrets doctors are just understanding and learn why your mind is the most powerful medicine you possess. Welcome to Psychology for Sleep. Now settle in. You're in your safe space while your brain quietly repairs itself, clearing toxins, preparing for tomorrow. Allow yourself this moment of peace. We'll journey through 100 psychology facts about what your body truly needs when exhaustion takes hold. From invisible cellular repair happening now, to how thoughts create healing chemicals, to the bridge between hope and recovery. This thoughtful journey through consciousness builds bridges between searching minds. A gentle subscribe, like, or sharing your thoughts creates a pathway for more exhausted souls to discover and brings us closer to protect this sanctuary. One sleepy soul at a time. Your healing journey inspires ours. Let yourself settle completely here. Feel your jaw unclench, your breath deepen naturally. You can let these thoughts drift past without holding them. Sense that soothing heaviness enveloping you, like your consciousness slowly dimming its brightness. Thoughts dissolving into the peaceful fog of approaching sleep, safe and undisturbed. Close your eyes and breathe deeply. You're floating where memories rest safely in gentle darkness. Let your mind merge with infinite peace. And now we begin. Your brain uses 20% of your body's total energy. Despite weighing only about 3 pounds, that's roughly 300 to 400 calories each day, devoted entirely to thinking, feeling, remembering, and processing. When your mind feels exhausted, it's not just a feeling, it's your cells speaking. Your neurons have been firing constantly. Synapses connecting and reconnecting. Neurotransmitters moving in endless cycles. Mental exhaustion is as physical as muscle fatigue after running many miles. Your brain has genuinely worked hard, and like any hard-working organ, it needs specific conditions to recover. Understanding this helps you see that rest isn't weakness. It's biological necessity. Mental exhaustion manifests differently than physical tiredness. Research from the National Institutes of Health shows that cognitive fatigue activates different brain regions than physical fatigue does. When you're mentally exhausted, the prefrontal cortex, responsible for decision-making, focus, and emotional regulation, shows reduced activity. Meanwhile, the default mode network, which handles mind-wandering, becomes more active. This explains why an exhausted mind can't focus on tasks but won't stop thinking either. You're caught between inability to concentrate and inability to quiet mental noise. Your body recognizes this distinction and responds accordingly, sending different signals for different types of tiredness. Sleep deprivation amplifies mental exhaustion exponentially. According to recent sleep research from 2024, losing just 1 hour of sleep can reduce cognitive performance by up to 25% the following day. Chronic sleep restriction. Getting 6 hours or less regularly creates a cumulative cognitive debt that compounds weekly. Your brain's glymphatic system, which clears metabolic waste, operates primarily during deep sleep. Without adequate rest, toxic proteins like beta amyloid accumulate in neural tissue. These proteins interfere with synaptic function, making thinking feel cloudy and slow. What your exhausted mind needs most urgently is the deep, restorative sleep that allows this cleaning process to occur. Stress hormones play a central role in mental exhaustion. When you're under chronic stress, your adrenal glands continuously release cortisol and adrenaline. Initially, these hormones sharpen focus and boost energy, the fight-or-flight response. But sustained elevation becomes harmful to brain tissue. When cortisol remains elevated for weeks or months, it can affect the hippocampus, the brain region, important for memory formation and emotional regulation. Studies from 2025 show that people with chronically elevated cortisol perform worse on memory tests and report feeling mentally foggy more frequently. Your body needs cortisol levels to drop, which happens naturally during deep relaxation and sleep. Lowering stress isn't optional. It's chemically necessary for cognitive recovery. Dehydration contributes significantly to mental fatigue. Your brain is approximately 73% water, and even mild dehydration, losing just 2% of body water, impairs concentration, memory, and mood. Research from 2024 demonstrates that dehydrated individuals show increased activity in brain regions associated with effortful thinking, meaning their brains work harder to accomplish the same tasks. When your mind feels exhausted, one of the simplest interventions is drinking water. Proper hydration supports neurotransmitter production, maintains blood volume for oxygen delivery, and helps regulate body temperature, all essential for optimal brain function. Sometimes what feels like profound mental exhaustion is partially physiological thirst. Nutrition directly impacts cognitive energy. Your brain runs primarily on glucose, requiring a steady supply of blood sugar to function optimally. But not all glucose sources are equal. Refined sugars cause rapid spikes and crashes, leaving you more exhausted afterward. Complex carbohydrates, healthy fats, and proteins provide sustained energy. Omega-3 fatty acids, found in fish and certain nuts, support neural membrane health and reduce inflammation. B vitamins facilitate neurotransmitter synthesis. Magnesium helps regulate stress responses. Recent nutritional neuroscience from 2025 shows that diets rich in whole foods significantly improve cognitive resilience to stress. What your exhausted mind needs isn't just rest. It's the molecular building blocks to rebuild itself. Physical movement paradoxically reduces mental exhaustion. This seems counterintuitive. How can expending energy create more energy? The answer lies in neurochemistry. Exercise increases blood flow to the brain, delivering more oxygen and nutrients. It stimulates the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, or BDNF, a protein that supports neuron growth and survival. Even gentle movement, like walking, triggers the release of endorphins and endocannabinoids, natural mood elevators that reduce perceived mental fatigue. A 2025 meta-analysis found that 20 minutes of moderate exercise improves cognitive function for up to 2 hours afterward. Your body craves movement, not to exhaust you further, but to jumpstart recovery processes that restore mental clarity. Social isolation intensifies mental exhaustion. Humans are profoundly social creatures, and meaningful connection activates reward centers in the brain while reducing stress hormone production. When you're isolated, your brain interprets the situation as threatening, maintaining higher baseline anxiety and vigilance. This constant low-level stress depletes cognitive resources faster. Conversely, even brief positive social interactions, a genuine conversation, a shared laugh, physical touch, trigger oxytocin release, which counteracts cortisol's harmful effects. Research from 2024 shows that people with strong social support recover from mental exhaustion faster than those facing stress alone. Your exhausted mind needs not just solitude, but also connection, carefully balanced. Screen time before bed significantly disrupts the recovery process. The blue light emitted by phones, tablets, and computers suppresses melatonin production, the hormone that signals your body it's time to sleep. But the disruption goes beyond light exposure. Engaging with social media, news, or work emails keeps your prefrontal cortex active, preventing the neural downshift necessary for sleep. Studies from 2024 and early 2025 show that people who avoid screens for at least 1 hour before bed fall asleep faster, achieve deeper sleep stages, and report feeling more mentally refreshed the next morning. What your exhausted brain needs at night isn't stimulation. It's permission to power down, and screen light actively prevents that transition. So yes, understanding what your body needs when your mind is exhausted begins with recognizing that mental fatigue is real as a tired muscle. It shows up in how your brain chemicals balance, which regions light up or dim, and how your whole system responds to stress. Your exhaustion isn't weakness. It's your nervous system gently telling you that certain needs aren't being met. Sleep, hydration, nutrition, movement, connection, and stress reduction aren't luxury self-care. They're basic maintenance requirements for a brain operating under modern demands. Everything that follows explores how to meet these needs, gently and sustainably. Temperature regulation affects cognitive recovery. Your brain functions optimally within a narrow temperature range, and core body temperature naturally drops during sleep as part of the circadian rhythm. Research from 2024 shows that sleeping in a room between 60 to 67 degrees Fahrenheit improves sleep quality and cognitive restoration. When you're too warm, your body struggles to initiate and maintain deep sleep stages. Some studies suggest that cooling the palms and soles of feet before bed helps accelerate the temperature drop that signals sleepiness. Your exhausted mind needs not just darkness and quiet, but also the right thermal environment to trigger proper rest. Magnesium deficiency is surprisingly common and directly linked to mental fatigue. This mineral plays a role in over 300 enzymatic reactions in the body, including those that produce energy and regulate neurotransmitters like serotonin. Low magnesium levels correlate with increased anxiety, poor sleep quality, and difficulty concentrating. A 2025 review of nutritional psychiatry found that magnesium supplementation improved symptoms of mental exhaustion in a majority of participants studied, with some trials showing benefits in over 60% of cases. Dietary sources include dark leafy greens, nuts, seeds, and whole grains. Sometimes what feels like profound burnout has a surprisingly straightforward nutritional component that can be addressed with dietary changes. Your gut health influences your mental state more than you might imagine. The gut-brain axis, a bidirectional communication system between your digestive tract and central nervous system, plays an important role in mood and cognitive function. About 90% of your body's serotonin is produced in the gut, not the brain. Recent microbiome research from late 2025 shows that certain probiotic strains can reduce anxiety and improve stress resilience by modulating this gut-brain connection. Chronic stress disrupts gut bacteria balance, which in turn worsens mental exhaustion. What your tired mind needs includes not just rest for your brain, but care for your entire digestive system. Chronic inflammation contributes to persistent mental fog. When your immune system remains activated for extended periods due to poor sleep, unhealthy diet, chronic stress, or underlying health conditions, inflammatory cytokines circulate through your bloodstream and cross the blood-brain barrier. These molecules interfere with neurotransmitter function and reduce neuroplasticity. A 2024 study found that people with higher inflammatory markers reported significantly more cognitive fatigue and reduced mental clarity. Anti-inflammatory interventions, including omega-3 supplementation, regular exercise, stress reduction, and adequate sleep, can break this cycle. Your exhausted mind might be battling invisible inflammation that rest alone cannot fully resolve. Sunlight exposure regulates your internal clock and energy levels. Natural light, especially in the morning, suppresses melatonin and triggers cortisol release, the healthy morning surge that promotes wakefulness and alertness. This helps set your circadian rhythm, ensuring you feel appropriately alert during the day and sleepy at night. People who spend most of their time indoors under artificial lighting often experience circadian disruption, leading to poor sleep quality and daytime mental exhaustion. Research from 2025 recommends getting at least 10 to 15 minutes of natural outdoor light within 2 hours of waking. Your brain evolved in sync with the sun's cycles, and modern indoor life disrupts this ancient biological programming. Breathing patterns affect mental energy more than most people realize. When you're stressed or anxious, breathing becomes shallow and rapid, centered in the chest. This pattern activates the sympathetic nervous system, maintaining a state of physiological arousal that feels mentally draining. Conversely, slow diaphragmatic breathing deep belly breaths at a rate of 5 to 6 per minute activates the parasympathetic nervous system, promoting relaxation and mental recovery. A 2024 study found that just 5 minutes of controlled breathing reduced perceived mental fatigue and improved focus. Your exhausted mind needs more oxygen, delivered in a rhythm that signals safety to your nervous system. Decision fatigue depletes mental resources faster than most cognitive tasks. Every choice you make, even small ones like what to wear or eat, consumes a bit of your executive function capacity. Research shows that after making many decisions, people become more impulsive, avoid complex choices, and experience reduced self-control. This is why successful people often simplify routine decisions through habits and routines. Barack Obama famously wore only gray or blue suits to minimize decision load. When your mind is already exhausted, reducing unnecessary choices becomes essential. Your brain needs to conserve decision-making energy for truly important matters, letting habits handle the rest. Caffeine provides temporary relief, but can worsen exhaustion long-term. Coffee and other caffeinated beverages block adenosine receptors in your brain. Adenosine is a neurotransmitter that accumulates throughout the day, creating the sensation of tiredness. Blocking its receptors makes you feel more alert. But the adenosine doesn't disappear. It just can't bind to its target. When caffeine wears off, all that accumulated adenosine floods your receptors at once, creating a crash. Regular caffeine consumption also disrupts sleep architecture, reducing deep sleep quality. Studies from 2024 suggest that consuming caffeine within 6 hours of bedtime significantly impairs sleep. Your exhausted mind might need not more stimulation, but simply better rest. Emotional exhaustion is distinct from cognitive exhaustion, though they often overlap. Cognitive fatigue involves depleted attention, memory, and processing capacity. Emotional exhaustion, feeling drained, overwhelmed, or numb, stems from prolonged stress, difficult relationships, or suppressing emotions. Research shows that emotional exhaustion activates different brain networks, primarily affecting the limbic system rather than just the prefrontal cortex. Recovery requires not just cognitive rest, but also emotional processing. Talking through feelings, journaling, therapy, or creative expression. Your body needs different interventions depending on whether your exhaustion is primarily cognitive, emotional, or both, which is often the case. Nature exposure reduces mental exhaustion through multiple mechanisms. Being in natural environments, forests, parks, near water, lowers cortisol, reduces blood pressure, and decreases activity in the prefrontal cortex, allowing this region to rest. The concept of attention restoration theory suggests that nature provides gentle, effortless stimulation that replenishes cognitive resources depleted by intense focus. A 2024 study found that just 20 minutes in nature measurably improved memory and attention. with some participants showing improvements of 15 to 25% on cognitive tests. What your tired mind needs isn't always more rest indoors, but sometimes the specific, gentle restoration that natural environments uniquely provide. Sleep architecture matters as much as sleep duration. You cycle through different sleep stages: light sleep, deep sleep, and REM sleep, multiple times each night. Deep sleep is important for physical restoration and clearing metabolic waste. REM sleep consolidates memories and processes emotions. Getting 8 hours of fragmented, poor quality sleep leaves you more exhausted than 6 hours of uninterrupted, well-structured sleep. Recent research from 2025 emphasizes optimizing sleep quality through consistent sleep schedules, dark environments, cool temperatures, and minimizing alcohol before bed. Your exhausted brain needs not just time unconscious, but properly orchestrated cycles through these restorative stages. Chronic pain creates a vicious cycle with mental exhaustion. Pain signals constantly demand your brain's attention, consuming cognitive resources and making focus difficult. Persistent pain also disrupts sleep, preventing proper rest. Additionally, pain often leads to reduced physical activity, which worsens both physical and mental health. The stress of managing pain elevates cortisol chronically. A 2024 review found that effective pain management through medication, physical therapy, mindfulness, or other interventions not only reduces suffering but also improves cognitive function and mental energy. Your exhausted mind might be fighting an invisible battle against pain signals that drain attention before you can use it for anything else. Music can facilitate cognitive recovery in specific ways. Certain types of music, particularly slow, instrumental pieces around 60 beats per minute, synchronize with resting heart rate and promote relaxation. Music you find calming reduces cortisol and activates the parasympathetic nervous system. Interestingly, listening to music you love triggers dopamine release, providing pleasure without requiring cognitive effort. A 2025 study showed that 30 minutes of relaxing music before bed improved sleep quality and reduced next-day mental fatigue. Your brain responds to acoustic patterns in ways that words and logic cannot access, making music a unique tool for mental restoration. Perfectionism significantly amplifies mental exhaustion. Holding impossibly high standards means you're never satisfied, constantly pushing yourself beyond healthy limits, and experiencing persistent anxiety about falling short. Research shows that perfectionists have higher rates of burnout, anxiety disorders, and chronic fatigue. The constant internal evaluation, the voice that measures every action, keeps your stress response activated even during supposedly restful activities. Learning to accept good enough isn't settling. It's an important skill for sustainable mental energy. Your exhausted mind needs permission to be imperfect, to rest without guilt, and to recognize that your worth isn't determined by productivity. These observations reveal that mental exhaustion isn't a single condition, but a constellation of physiological, psychological, and lifestyle factors converging to deplete your cognitive resources. Your brain isn't a computer that simply needs charging. It's a biological organ embedded in a body, influenced by everything from what you eat and drink to how you breathe, move, connect with others, and relate to yourself. Understanding this complexity is the first step toward genuine recovery. What emerges from this research is clear. Your body knows what it needs, and those needs are simultaneously simpler and more comprehensive than most people realize. Let's pause here and notice your body. As you breathe out slowly, appreciate each tiny cell inside. Trillions of organisms working in silence. Heart beating, lungs breathing, brain thinking, all without your command. Notice the gentle sensations on your skin, in your muscles, along your spine. You are a complete ecosystem, diverse, self-balancing. Now we continue. The 8-hour sleep recommendation isn't universal. Individual needs vary. While 7 to 9 hours suits most adults, genetic factors influence optimal sleep duration. Some people genuinely function well on 6 hours, while others need 9. What matters more than hitting a specific number is waking feeling refreshed and maintaining energy throughout the day without excessive caffeine. Research from 2024 emphasizes listening to your body's signals rather than rigidly adhering to a prescribed amount. Your exhausted mind needs whatever duration and sleep timing aligns with your unique biology, which might differ from general guidelines or even from your partner or friends. Napping can be restorative or disruptive, depending on timing and duration. A 20-minute power nap improves alertness and performance without causing sleep inertia, that groggy feeling after waking. Naps longer than 30 minutes risk entering deep sleep, making you more disoriented upon waking. Napping late in the afternoon or evening can interfere with nighttime sleep. However, when you're severely sleep-deprived, longer naps become necessary for recovery. Recent research suggests that if you need a nap longer than 20 minutes regularly, it's a sign your nighttime sleep needs improvement. Your body's nap requirements offer diagnostic information about how well your primary sleep is serving you. Alcohol disrupts sleep despite making you drowsy. While alcohol helps you fall asleep faster, it suppresses REM sleep during the first half of the night and causes fragmented sleep in the second half as your body metabolizes it. You might wake frequently, experience vivid dreams or nightmares, and wake feeling unrefreshed. A 2024 analysis found that even moderate drinking, 2 drinks, can reduce sleep quality by 20 to 30%, primarily by disrupting the second half of the night. Many people use alcohol to manage stress and insomnia, unknowingly creating a cycle that worsens mental exhaustion. What your tired mind needs isn't sedation, but genuine rest, which alcohol cannot provide. Cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia, known as CBT-I, proves more effective than medication for chronic sleep problems. This structured approach addresses thoughts and behaviors that interfere with sleep. Worry about not sleeping. Irregular schedules. Using bed for activities other than sleep. Spending too much time in bed awake. Unlike sleeping pills, which often lose effectiveness and create dependence, CBT-1 produces lasting improvements. Research consistently shows that people who complete CBT-I sleep better months and years later. Your exhausted mind might benefit not from another supplement or prescription, but from fundamentally changing your relationship with sleep itself through evidence-based behavioral strategies. Digital detox periods can significantly improve mental energy. Constant connectivity. Email notifications. Social media updates. News alerts. Keeps your brain in a state of partial attention, never fully focusing or fully resting. This continuous partial attention is cognitively exhausting. People who take regular breaks from digital devices, whether a few hours daily or a full day weekly, report improved concentration, better mood, and reduced anxiety. A 2024 experiment found that participants who avoided social media for 1 week showed significant improvements in mental clarity and emotional well-being. Your exhausted mind is likely starved for genuine downtime, free from the relentless input of the digital world. Meditation and mindfulness practices physically change brain structure with regular practice. Long-term meditators show increased gray matter density in regions associated with attention, emotional regulation, and self-awareness. Even 8 weeks of daily practice produces measurable changes. Meditation reduces activity in the default mode network, the brain regions active during mind-wandering and rumination. This creates space between thoughts, reducing the mental noise that exhausts you. Recent neuroscience from 2025 shows that meditation's benefits accumulate over time, becoming a sustainable tool for managing cognitive fatigue. Your tired mind needs not just rest, but training in how to rest effectively. Gratitude practices have measurable effects on brain chemistry and mental energy. Regularly acknowledging things you're grateful for increases dopamine and serotonin production, neurotransmitters associated with well-being and motivation. Gratitude also reduces activity in the amygdala, the brain's threat detection center, lowering anxiety. Studies show that keeping a gratitude journal or sharing appreciation with others improves sleep quality, reduces depression symptoms, and increases resilience to stress. This isn't toxic positivity. It's neurochemical intervention. Your exhausted mind might benefit from intentionally directing attention toward what's working, even when much feels difficult, as this shift literally alters your brain's chemical environment. Boundaries protect mental energy more effectively than almost any other approach. Learning to say no, limiting availability, protecting personal time, and refusing to overcommit prevents the chronic overwhelm that leads to exhaustion. Many people feel guilty setting boundaries, viewing it as selfish. But research shows that people with strong boundaries experience less burnout and maintain better relationships because they engage from a place of choice rather than obligation or resentment. Your exhausted mind needs permission to protect its limited resources. to acknowledge that you cannot do everything for everyone, and that your needs matter equally to others' demands. Laughter provides measurable cognitive and physiological benefits. Genuine laughter releases endorphins, reduces cortisol, relaxes muscles, and increases oxygen intake, improving circulation to the brain. The social bonding from shared laughter strengthens relationships, which supports mental health. Even anticipating laughter, knowing you'll watch a comedy or meet a funny friend, reduces stress hormones. A 2024 study found that people who laughed regularly reported lower levels of mental fatigue and higher life satisfaction. Your exhausted mind needs joy, playfulness, and moments of genuine amusement, not as frivolous extras, but as essential medicine that shifts your entire physiological state. Purposeful work provides energy while meaningless tasks drain it disproportionately. Research shows that people engaged in work they find meaningful can sustain focus longer, with less fatigue than those performing tasks they consider pointless. Meaning doesn't require grandiose purpose. It can be knowing your work helps others, aligns with your values, or develops skills you care about. Conversely, spending time on activities you find meaningless rapidly depletes mental energy. Your exhausted mind might be signaling not that you need less work, but that you need work that matters to you, that connects to something beyond mere obligation. Touch and physical affection reduce stress and improve mental recovery. Hugs, massage, holding hands, or even petting animals triggers oxytocin release, which counteracts cortisol and promotes feelings of safety and connection. Touch also activates the parasympathetic nervous system, promoting relaxation. Studies show that people who receive regular affectionate touch recover faster from stress and report less mental exhaustion. Touch-deprived individuals show higher anxiety and depression rates. Your exhausted body needs not just cognitive solutions, but physical comfort. The simple, ancient mammalian need for safe, caring contact with other beings. Spending time with children or animals can restore mental energy through uncomplicated presence. Children live primarily in the present moment, and their play invites adults into that state. Animals don't judge, don't require complex social navigation, and offer simple, honest companionship. Both provide emotional connection without the cognitive load of adult conversations. Research from 2025 shows that playing with children or pets reduces cortisol and increases positive mood markers. Your exhausted mind might benefit from interactions that don't require you to perform, impress, or maintain complex social awareness. Just simple, present connection. Creative activities engage different brain networks than analytical tasks, providing cognitive rest. When you draw, paint, write fiction, play music, or engage in other creative pursuits, you shift from the executive function regions to more intuitive, flow-based processing. This allows overworked analytical regions to recover. Many people report feeling refreshed after creative time, even though they weren't resting passively. A 2024 study found that creative hobbies reduce symptoms of burnout in healthcare workers. Your exhausted mind doesn't always need to stop thinking. Sometimes it needs to think differently, using underutilized neural pathways that feel restorative precisely because they're less worn. Financial stress creates persistent cognitive load that exhausts mental resources. Worrying about money keeps your threat detection systems active, makes sleep difficult, and consumes attention that could go toward other tasks. Research shows that financial insecurity impairs cognitive function similarly to losing an entire night of sleep. The constant mental calculations. Can I afford this? How will I pay that? Drain executive function. While solving financial problems isn't always possible quickly, acknowledging this as a significant source of exhaustion helps you understand your fatigue isn't personal weakness, but a rational response to real stresses affecting millions of people. This evidence reveals a pattern. Mental exhaustion isn't solved by a single intervention, but requires addressing multiple interconnected factors: sleep, stress, nutrition, movement, connection, meaning, boundaries, and environment all contribute to or deplete cognitive resources. The good news is that small improvements in several areas create compounding benefits. You don't need to perfect everything simultaneously. Addressing even 2 or 3 factors begins shifting your baseline. What your exhausted mind needs is a comprehensive, compassionate approach that recognizes the legitimacy of your fatigue and the multiplicity of paths toward recovery. These insights reveal something important. Your exhaustion has many sources, which means recovery has many pathways. You're not looking for one magic solution, but a gentle rebalancing across several areas of life. You're still here with me, thoughts still flickering like candle light. Just notice. Don't judge. Just notice where your mind is. We're exploring consciousness itself. The very thing doing the exploring right now. Strange, beautiful, and perfectly calm. Let's drift onward together. Understanding mental exhaustion changes how you interpret your experience. Instead of seeing fatigue as personal failure, you recognize it as your nervous system communicating needs. This shift reduces self-judgment, which itself is exhausting. Compassionate self-awareness. Acknowledging you're struggling without harsh criticism lowers stress and improves recovery. Research shows that self-compassion strongly predicts resilience and mental health. Your exhausted mind needs you to be its ally, not its critic. To listen to its signals with kindness rather than frustration. Recovery isn't linear. You'll have better and worse days. Expecting steady improvement sets you up for disappointment when inevitable setbacks occur. True healing involves gradually increasing your baseline resilience while accepting fluctuations. Some days you'll feel surprisingly energized. Others, exhausted again. This is normal. What matters is the overall trend over weeks and months, not daily variations. Your body's healing process follows its own rhythm, influenced by factors often beyond your conscious control. Professional help, therapy, medical consultation, sleep specialists, isn't admitting defeat. Many people struggle alone far longer than necessary because they believe they should handle everything independently. Mental exhaustion sometimes indicates underlying conditions like depression, anxiety disorders, sleep apnea, thyroid dysfunction, or chronic fatigue syndrome. These require professional diagnosis and treatment. Seeking help demonstrates wisdom and self-respect, not weakness. Your exhausted mind deserves expert support when self-help strategies aren't sufficient. Letting go of productivity culture reduces mental burden. Modern society equates worth with output, rest with laziness, and exhaustion with commitment. This toxic framework makes recovery nearly impossible because resting feels like failing. Research shows that sustainable productivity requires regular rest periods. You cannot sprint indefinitely. Your value as a human isn't determined by what you produce. Learning this intellectually differs from believing it emotionally. But the journey toward genuine acceptance gradually liberates substantial mental energy currently spent on guilt and self-judgment. Small rituals create psychological transitions that protect mental energy. A morning routine signals now I'm starting my day. An evening ritual signals now I'm finishing. Without these transitions, days blur together. Work bleeds into personal time, and your mind never fully shifts out of work mode. Simple acts, changing clothes, lighting a candle, drinking tea in a specific place, become anchors that help your brain switch contexts. Your exhausted mind needs clear boundaries, not just externally, but internally, marking where one part of life ends and another begins. Accepting your limitations paradoxically expands what's possible. Acknowledging you can't do everything, that you need rest, that some tasks must be left undone. This acceptance reduces the constant tension of pushing beyond capacity. When you stop fighting reality, you free energy currently spent on that futile resistance. You make better decisions about where to focus limited resources. Your exhausted mind becomes clearer when it stops trying to be unlimited and instead works intelligently within actual constraints. Community support accelerates recovery. Sharing your struggles with others who understand reduces isolation and provides practical wisdom from those who've navigated similar challenges. Support groups, whether in person or online, create belonging and normalize your experience. Helping others while receiving help yourself fosters purpose and connection. Research consistently shows that social support is among the strongest predictors of recovery from various health challenges. Your exhausted mind heals faster when it recognizes it's not alone in this struggle. Your relationship with yourself fundamentally shapes recovery. Do you speak to yourself with kindness or cruelty? Do you acknowledge your efforts or only your failings? Internal dialogue affects stress hormones, brain function, and motivation. Negative self-talk activates threat responses. Compassionate self-talk activates soothing systems. Learning to treat yourself as you'd treat a good friend going through difficulty isn't self-indulgent. It's biologically strategic. Your exhausted mind needs gentle, encouraging internal companionship, not an evaluating voice making everything harder. Hope matters biologically, not just emotionally. Believing recovery is possible affects behavior. You're more likely to take care of yourself, to persist through difficult days, to try strategies that might help. Hopelessness, conversely, can become self-fulfilling as you stop trying. Research in health psychology shows that hopeful patients have better outcomes across various conditions. Your exhausted mind needs to believe that change is possible, that you won't always feel this way, that effort toward recovery is worthwhile because improvement genuinely can occur. Halfway through our journey, the answer is emerging. What your body needs when your mind is exhausted isn't a single solution, but a complete shift in how you live and think. It needs sleep, yes, but also movement, nourishment, connection, meaning, boundaries, and self-compassion. It needs you to recognize that exhaustion isn't weakness but wisdom. Your body telling you something must change. Recovery requires not working harder, but working differently, and sometimes not working at all. The path forward becomes clearer as you learn to listen and imagine, even when everything seems empty. Space is always full of waves, vibrations, invisible energy. The space inside and around you is never truly empty. Imagine you're floating on a calm lake, but beneath the surface, there's always gentle current. Now we continue the journey. Your nervous system evolved for different stresses than modern life presents. Ancient humans faced acute, short-term threats, predators, rivals, natural disasters. Your stress response developed for these situations. Intense activation followed by recovery. Modern stressors are chronic. Work deadlines, financial pressure, information overload. With no clear resolution, your body remains in perpetual low-level activation, which it wasn't designed to sustain. Understanding this mismatch helps you see why modern life feels so exhausting. You're not broken. You're experiencing biological systems stressed beyond their evolutionary design parameters. Authenticity reduces mental load, presenting different versions of yourself in different contexts. Professional you, family you, social media you, requires constant cognitive effort to manage these personas. Being able to show up as yourself, with all your complexities and imperfections, eliminates this exhausting performance. Research shows that people who feel they can be authentic experience less stress and greater life satisfaction. Your exhausted mind might be tired of pretending, of hiding parts of yourself that don't fit certain contexts. Grief and loss create profound mental exhaustion, even when the loss isn't recent. Processing loss of relationships, opportunities, health, identities requires considerable emotional and cognitive resources. Complicated grief especially depletes energy. Many people don't recognize ongoing grief as a source of exhaustion because it's not always obvious sadness. Sometimes it's numbness, disconnection, or vague heaviness. Your exhausted mind might be processing losses you haven't fully acknowledged or allowed yourself to mourn. Seasons affect mental energy through multiple biological pathways. Shorter daylight hours in winter reduce serotonin production and disrupt circadian rhythms, contributing to seasonal affective disorder. Temperature changes affect metabolism and energy expenditure. Seasonal allergies create inflammatory responses that cause fatigue. Even cultural factors, holiday stress, summer vacation guilt, influence mental states. Recognizing seasonal patterns in your energy helps you anticipate and plan for predictable low periods rather than fighting them. Your body keeps score of every stress, every loss, every demand, even when your conscious mind has moved on. The concept of the body keeping score, popularized by trauma research, applies to everyday exhaustion too. Unprocessed emotions, unresolved stresses, and accumulated tensions lodge in your physiology. Tight shoulders, shallow breathing, digestive issues. Mental and physical health aren't separate systems. Your exhausted mind lives in an exhausted body, and both require integrated care. Digital comparison depletes self-worth and mental energy. Social media presents curated highlights of others' lives, triggering constant unfavorable comparisons. Research shows that time on social media correlates with increased depression and anxiety. The comparison itself is cognitively exhausting, evaluating yourself against others, feeling inadequate, trying to manage your online presentation. Your exhausted mind might benefit substantially from reducing exposure to these artificial comparison environments. Learning to recognize your early warning signs prevents full burnout. Exhaustion usually develops gradually. First, subtle changes in mood or sleep, then concentration difficulties, then more serious symptoms. Catching the early signals and responding immediately makes recovery faster. Ignoring warnings until you crash requires months to recover from what could have been prevented, with days of rest. Your body sends messages before emergencies. Learning your personal exhaustion signals and honoring them becomes important preventive care. Work-life integration differs from work-life balance. Balance implies separate, equal compartments. Integration recognizes that work and personal life intertwine, but with intentional boundaries and priorities. You might check email occasionally on vacation but refuse to answer non-urgent matters. You might work from home but designate specific spaces for specific activities. Integration allows flexibility while maintaining the essential boundaries that prevent work from consuming all mental space. Your exhausted mind needs integration that serves you, not your employer's unlimited access. Forgiveness of yourself and others releases mental energy that's been held in resentment, holding grudges, replaying hurts, planning what you should have said. These ruminations consume cognitive resources without resolving anything. Forgiveness doesn't mean condoning harm or reconciling with harmful people. It means releasing yourself from the exhausting grip of past events. Research shows that forgiveness reduces stress, improves mood, and frees attention for present concerns. Your exhausted mind might be carrying burdens from the past that no longer serve you. Acceptance isn't resignation. It's recognizing reality before deciding how to respond. Fighting against unchangeable circumstances wastes substantial energy. Accepting a difficult situation doesn't mean liking it or giving up on improvement. It means acknowledging what actually is, which creates a stable foundation for wise action. Much mental exhaustion comes from struggling against reality, trying to make things different through worry or denial. Your exhausted mind finds relief in accepting what cannot be changed while taking action where change is possible. Your values guide where to invest limited energy. When you know what matters most, family, creativity, justice, learning, whatever your core values, decisions become clearer. Activities aligning with values energize you. Those conflicting with values drain you. Many people live according to others' values. Societies, families, employers, without examining their own. Your exhausted mind might be working hard at things you don't actually care about, while neglecting what would give your life meaning. Rest is active recovery, not passive withdrawal. True rest involves activities that restore you. Reading, walking, creating, connecting with loved ones. It's not just the absence of work. Different people find different activities restful. Some restore through solitude, others through socializing, some through gentle movement, others through complete stillness. Understanding what actually restores you personally, rather than what should be relaxing, helps you rest effectively. Your exhausted mind needs your specific brand of restoration. Transitions consume hidden mental energy. Starting a new job, moving homes, beginning or ending relationships, even positive changes like marriage or parenthood, all require psychological adjustment that depletes cognitive resources. Change, even desired change, involves grieving what was and adapting to what is. People often don't recognize transition fatigue because the changes seem positive. Your exhausted mind might be processing major life transitions that require time and patience, not just powering through. Silence and quiet increasingly become rare luxuries. Constant background noise, traffic, appliances, other people, media, keeps your sensory systems partially activated. Your brain filters out most of it consciously, but this filtering itself requires effort. Intentional silence allows deeper neural rest. People report feeling refreshed after time in truly quiet environments. Your exhausted mind might be overwhelmed not just by cognitive demands, but by relentless sensory input it must continuously process and filter. We now understand. Mental exhaustion isn't weakness or personal failure. It's communication. Your nervous system telling you, as clearly as it can, that something needs attention. The question shifts from why am I so weak to what is my body trying to tell me? Your brain chemistry, sleep patterns, nutrition, relationships, work environment, self-talk, life circumstances, and countless other elements all contribute. This complexity explains why simple fixes often fail. Recovery requires addressing multiple dimensions simultaneously. With patience for the gradual process, your exhausted mind won't transform overnight. But each small change contributes to a larger restoration unfolding in its own necessary time. Vulnerability strengthens connections more than strength does. Sharing struggles honestly invites authentic relationship. Pretending everything's fine keeps people at distance and reinforces isolation. Research shows that vulnerability creates intimacy and trust, which provide support during difficult times. Many fear that showing exhaustion makes them burdensome, but true friends value honesty over performance. Your exhausted mind needs permission to be honest about struggling, to ask for help, to admit you're not okay. Progress isn't always visible or measurable. Some days, you're building capacity without seeing results. Your nervous system is recalibrating. Neural pathways are forming. Healing happens in microscopic increments before becoming noticeable. Trusting this invisible progress when you feel discouraged requires faith. But biology works whether you perceive it or not. Your exhausted mind is recovering even when you can't feel the difference yet, as long as you maintain the conditions that support healing. Curiosity about your experience reduces suffering. Approaching exhaustion with interest. Why am I feeling this? What does this fatigue tell me? What experiment might help? Shifts you from victim to scientist. You're not broken. You're interesting. This curious stance reduces the secondary suffering of harsh self-judgment. It opens space for creative problem solving. Your exhausted mind benefits from gentle, interested attention rather than frustrated demands that it function differently. Legacy and contribution matter to mental health. Feeling that your life creates positive impact beyond yourself provides meaning that sustains through difficulty. Contribution doesn't require grand gestures. Teaching one person something useful, making someone laugh, tending a garden, creating something beautiful. These small offerings connect you to larger human continuity. Your exhausted mind might hunger for purpose beyond survival, for ways your existence enriches the world. Intuition offers wisdom your conscious mind can't access. Your brain processes far more information than reaches conscious awareness. Sometimes you just know something without logical justification. That's pattern recognition from your vast unconscious processing. Learning to trust intuition while balancing it with reason creates wiser decisions. Many people ignore intuitive signals, then feel exhausted fighting against their deeper knowing. Your exhausted mind might be tired of overriding intuition with should and logic. Impermanence applies to exhaustion too. This won't last forever. You've felt different before. You'll feel different again. When exhaustion feels permanent, remembering past cycles helps. You've recovered before. Circumstances change. Your biology changes, even if nothing external shifts. Your internal relationship to the situation can transform. Your exhausted mind needs hope rooted in truth. Feelings are temporary. Change is constant. And you've navigated difficult periods before. Play isn't frivolous. It's essential. Play activates different neural networks, releases stress, fosters creativity, and strengthens relationships. Adults often abandon play, viewing it as childish or unproductive. But evolution wouldn't have programmed play so deeply if it weren't vital. Finding ways to play, games, sports, silly humor, creative hobbies, restores mental energy. Your exhausted mind needs permission to engage in activities with no goal beyond enjoyment. Your mental health affects others, and others affects yours. You're embedded in systems, family, workplace, community. When you're exhausted, relationships suffer. When loved ones struggle, it impacts you. This interconnection means caring for yourself helps others. And accepting help from others isn't selfishness, but recognizing mutual interdependence. Your exhausted mind exists within webs of relationship, not in isolation. Enough is a concept worth defining for yourself. What's enough sleep? Enough money? Enough success? Enough productivity? Without your own definition, you'll chase society's infinite demands. But enough is personal, contextual, and allows rest once you reach it. Many people never feel they've done enough, so they never rest. Your exhausted mind needs your permission to declare that what you've accomplished is sufficient, that you can stop now. Mental exhaustion has taught us that consciousness is expensive, attention is limited, and rest is not optional. Your brain isn't infinitely resilient. Respecting your cognitive limits isn't weakness, it's wisdom. Modern culture denies these limits, demanding constant availability and productivity. But biology doesn't negotiate. You can push past limits temporarily, but eventually, exhaustion forces the rest you denied yourself. Learning to honor your needs before crisis requires countercultural courage, but it's the only sustainable path forward. Almost done. Relax even deeper. Did you know? Most matter, from a grain of sand to a star, is empty space. Atoms are mostly empty space between nucleus and electrons. Even your body is more space than matter. So let go. Let all pressure, all worry dissolve, like dust particles floating, drifting in the immense universe. We'll continue with the final facts. Your body whispers before it screams. Exhaustion is the scream. Listening to whispers. Mild tiredness. Slight irritability. Subtle difficulty concentrating. Allows response before collapse. Your body wants partnership, not battle. Rest is not earned through suffering. You deserve rest simply by existing, by being a biological organism with needs. No achievement required. Just being alive means needing care. The wound is where the light enters. As the poet wrote, Your exhaustion might become the catalyst for necessary life changes you've been avoiding. Sometimes crisis creates clarity nothing else could provide. You are not your productivity. Your worth exists independent of your output. This truth sustains when everything else fails. You matter because you're here, not because of what you do. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll backslide. That's not failure. It's the natural rhythm of recovery. Like waves approaching shore, forward, back, forward, back, but gradually, inevitably, reaching land. Your nervous system needs safety more than anything else. Feeling truly safe, physically, emotionally, socially, allows everything else to repair. Creating safety becomes the foundation of all healing. Gentleness toward yourself isn't weakness. It's meeting yourself where you are with compassion, acknowledging struggle without judgment. This kindness becomes the soil where recovery grows. Everything changes, including exhaustion. The Buddhist truth of impermanence applies to suffering. This heaviness you carry won't last forever. Nothing does. That's simultaneously scary and comforting. You're allowed to change your mind about careers, relationships, beliefs, anything. Growth means outgrowing previous choices. Your exhausted mind might signal you've outgrown something that once fit, but no longer does. Sometimes the bravest thing is admitting you need help. Independence is valuable. But humans evolved for interdependence. Asking for support demonstrates wisdom, not inadequacy. You're not meant to carry everything alone. Your body knows what it needs better than your mind does. Learning to listen to physical signals, hunger, tiredness, tension, ease, reconnects you with innate wisdom. Trust that deeper knowing. Perfectionism is exhaustion's companion. The impossible standards, the constant striving, the never being satisfied. This mindset guarantees depletion. Learning that good enough truly is enough liberates substantial energy. You're doing better than you think. Exhausted people tend toward harsh self-judgment, seeing only what's undone, not what's been accomplished. Acknowledge what you have managed despite difficulty. Purpose doesn't have to be grand. Simple purposes, being kind, showing up for loved ones, tending what you care for, provide meaning without overwhelming pressure. You don't need to save the world. The answer has been revealing itself. Your body needs rest, nourishment, movement, connection, meaning, boundaries, and above all, compassion. Not perfection in these areas, just movement toward them. Your exhaustion isn't failure. It's your body's wisdom, telling you something needs to change. Listening is the first step. You are allowed to rest without guilt. This permission might be the hardest gift to give yourself, but rest is your birthright, not something earned through suffering. You can stop now. Recovery takes time. Our culture wants instant solutions, but biology works slowly, trusting the pace of healing. even when it feels frustratingly gradual. Honors how living systems actually repair themselves. You're not alone in this struggle. Millions of people feel exhausted right now. This isn't personal failure, but collective experience in a world that demands too much. Finding others who understand helps. Your past resilience proves you can navigate this too. You've survived everything you've faced so far. That history of getting through hard things, even imperfectly, demonstrates capacity you might have forgotten. Someday, you'll look back at this period and recognize it as the turning point. Not because it was easy, but because you learned something essential about caring for yourself. This exhaustion might teach you what nothing else could. You have permission to be imperfect, to struggle, to not have all the answers. Being human means being limited, vulnerable, and sometimes overwhelmed. That's not weakness. That's honest humanity. The final truth is simple. Your body needs you to listen, to care, to respond with kindness. It needs you to stop fighting yourself and start supporting yourself. This shift from enemy to ally changes everything. Whatever happens, you've made it this far. That counts. Every day you've gotten through counts. You're still here, still trying, still breathing. That's enough. You're enough. Rest well tonight. Let these words settle. Let your body feel whatever it feels without judgment. You've been carrying so much. You can set it down now, if only for tonight. What your body needs when your mind is exhausted is you, your patience, your kindness, your willingness to slow down and listen. Not perfection, not transformation overnight, just gentle, persistent care. You're allowed to rest now. And so, our quiet journey through exhaustion and recovery comes to a gentle close. We've traveled from the biology of fatigue to the wisdom of rest, discovering along the way that mental exhaustion isn't weakness, but communication. From neurons and neurotransmitters to meaning and self-compassion, we've glimpsed how healing is both beautifully simple and thoughtfully complex. Mental exhaustion reminds us that we're biological beings with real limits, not machines meant for endless productivity. Much of the healing happens in silence, in moments of gentleness, in choosing rest over striving. Exhaustion reveals our need for balance, connection, and self-compassion. Without acknowledging limits, we break. By pausing to notice what our bodies need, we glimpse the extraordinary wisdom within ordinary suffering. In these final minutes, take the deepest breath you can, as deep as possible. Think about consciousness itself, yours, mine, everyone listening, all awareness everywhere, perhaps all connected in ways we don't yet understand. You are not alone in the universe of minds. Let your entire being dissolve into the ocean of consciousness, into dreamless rest, into the space before thought. Prepare for deep sleep. No boundaries left, only peace. If this gentle journey helped you find some peace tonight, sharing it softly might help another exhausted soul discover this sanctuary too. It only takes a moment, but it means everything. One sleepy soul at a time. But there's no need to do anything now. Nothing at all. You've traveled far tonight. Farther than most journeys take you. You can allow these thoughts of exhaustion and healing to fade now, like morning mist over quiet water, leaving only the peaceful calm behind. Let your breathing deepen. Let your body feel heavier, as if gravity itself is gently pulling you deeper into your bed, into safety, into rest. If sleep comes, let it carry you like a tide pulling back from shore, smoothly, inevitably, into a realm where time and weight no longer matter. If your eyes are still open, the next video is waiting for you, ready to continue the journey. But if they're closed, stay there. Stay in the darkness that feels safe and warm. Tomorrow, your exhaustion will still be there to tend to. The work of healing will continue. But tonight belongs to stillness. Rest well, dear friend. And remember, you're allowed to be tired, to rest, to simply exist without purpose or productivity. Fall asleep to gentle facts, where science meets sleep. Dream deeper with bedtime science. Relax, listen, and drift into sleep. Good night.